Okay, let's go back on the record. We're back after a lunch break. Anything for anyone before we bring the jury back in?
No, sir.
No, Your Honor.
Here I have a working copy. I'm going to clean up a couple of white sheets in here that wording. Prosecutor and myself changed those in one respective approach just to help the judge see what's we'd like to have those two come through. I'm going to have to retrieve that again with you if I can. And make 2 pages are going to be modified into 2 white pages that have to do with videos. So Austin and I worked out some language I believe he's comfortable with. I know that go to the jury tomorrow. I'll publish those in paper tomorrow. Presumably all my exhibits are coming in. I think as soon as I get a copy, I'll look there. So I do have one audio, which would be the last exhibit.
Judge, I did just have one note. His proposed exhibit E is identical to what's already been admitted as 126.
E is an echo?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Not a huge deal. I'm not asking for any relief. Probably be worthwhile instructing the jury that it's the same exhibit.
There's another one that's going to match out. I think, we'll see if it's on the clips from Adam. We'll see. We'll deal with that when it comes up. But it's a picture that you took or you brought forward showing Dan's face when it was all.
Yeah, and so there's 2 identical exhibits being
Possibly, yes. Yeah, there is going to be. I mean, actually, that is a separate one. We could cross that bridge. And I want to thank the Agent Harris who's helping with the IT work today.
Sure. And Mr. Brennan, you're going to stay at the table. I'll let the jury know that you've asked to do that, which is appropriate given.
I think I'm going to go back and forth.
Okay, that's fine.
So, and it's no disrespect to the court.
Look, I'll let them know that because I don't want it to be.
Sometimes I have a low voice and sometimes I yell.
As long as they can hear you and Ms. James can hear you.
Maybe you could ask if they have any problem hearing me. I can fix that. I don't like fixing it, but I can.
Let's bring the jury back in, please.
Thank you very much, Your Honor.
And I'd say all rise for the jury, but everyone abstaining.
This thing here. No.
I'll mention that.
Okay, everyone, thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Hope everyone had a good week. I did want to let folks know that they were questioning related to the testimony today. I haven't forgotten about that. All the process or timing for those. It would be after all the attorneys that had you to ask questions, and then if the question remains unanswered at that time. So I just wanted to make sure whoever submitted, I didn't think I forgot about it. We'll go in there. And if you'll recall, Nunzio has completed her cross-examination of agent as well, so agent, if you want to come back up, Mr. Barnett, Oliver's attorney, is going to begin his cross-examination. And then, Jim, I did want to let you know that he did ask, obviously, there's a lot of paperwork that goes along with this and referencing, so he may go back and forth between the podium and his table. He may sit down every now and then, but that's not meant as a sign of disrespect towards you. It's simply a process. Okay, so please don't take it as such. With that, Mr. Barnett, go right ahead.
Thank you very much, Your Honor. Does the court wish to re-swear in the witness, or we?
No, we just do that on a daily basis. If you understand your show.
I do.
Okay, Mr. Barnett, go right ahead.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good afternoon, Agent Impala.
Good afternoon, Counselor.
Sorry, Impala.
Impala, thank you.
You're welcome. My apologies. I'm going to start off by having you review some exhibits so I can have those entered today.
Okay.
I do intend, Your Honor, to publish on the screen this afternoon and then bring a hard copy with some minor adjustments on a couple of the white sheets tomorrow to distribute 18 copies to the jury for their use and consideration. So let's go to proposed exhibit A, defendant Molitor's exhibit A, proposed. Can you look at those 21 pages and indicate to me what you believe those are?
Yes, I have them here. And these appear to be photographs taken by the FBI as part of the undercover operation. And these are photographs of the Mackinac Island mansion or governor's ceremonial building, I guess, residence.
Okay. Maybe summer residence on Mackinac Island
That's probably the best way to put it.
for whomever is the governor.
Yes, sir.
And those were taken by the FBI.
Yes.
Are they fair and accurate depictions of this very nice cottage?
Yes.
I'll call it. And I would move for the admission of defendant Molitor's exhibit A, which are these pictures from the Mackinac Island area.
No objection.
I'm sorry, Mr. Nunzio.
Leave it to the discretion of the court.
Okay. Exhibit A, which is Mahler's exhibit A, will be.
And just to touch on that just a little bit, that exhibit, those pictures were given to Adam Fox, were they not?
Yes, they were sent from Undercover Mark's account to Adam Fox on his request.
Those were things that were found on Adam Fox's phone, were they not?
Yes, I believe they were found on his phone.
And you did confiscate his phone, I take it? At the
Yes,
time of his arrest?
yes,
And you did a phone extraction, I take it, of Adam Fox's phone?
yes.
Okay. Let's go to, do you know the date of those pictures approximately? And when it went to Mr. Fox?
It's second or third week of August 2020 is my best recollection.
Okay. So that'd be prior to the daytime ride from Cadillac to Antrim with Mr. Molitor in the car? 9 days before approximately?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Agent. Should I call you Special Agent or is Agent okay today?
Agent's fine.
Thank you. So defendant Molitor's exhibit B, I wondered if you could take a look at that.
Yes, I have it here.
What does that look like to you?
This is a 4-pager, and these are still images or printouts of those live photographs that we were talking about earlier.
Okay. Let me take a break here. We'll come back to that. I appreciate that. I think we're going to run through the pictures if we could. Agent Harris, you're helping me with IT today. I want to thank him for that. And there are 21 pictures. If you could just wouldn't mind hitting one at a time and giving a couple seconds for the jury to view what's been shared with Mr. Fox. Thank you. So, Agent, are those the 21 pictures you're aware of that were handed to Mr. Adam Fox around the 20th of August, 2020?
Those are accurate. I believe they were sent to him
Sent to him by,
via, I believe it was Threema. It could have been Wire. It was either Wire or Threema at the time.
okay. So did Undercover Mark take those pictures as was talked about during the case or the investigation, or was that another agent?
It was another agent, but it was portrayed to Adam Fox that it was Undercover Mark. But somebody else actually went out and took them.
It looks like there's some maps on there as well, some drone shots, some lines drawn, things of that nature, as well as just general pictures of the facility.
So there's a photograph of the like the informational map at the Mackinac Island. And then these are Google views, Google Earth views. So these are not drone shots. These are just going on the internet.
Okay. Through what, Google Earth, did you say?
Yeah, Google Earth. Or you can, Google Earth is a separate app. This is actually Google Satellite View. So if you go into Google and then you click the satellite icon, it'll show you what it looks like.
Are you familiar, have you ever been in that vicinity before to see the state's cottage for a governor?
I have never had the opportunity. I'd love to get there, hopefully next summer.
Okay. Those pictures show basically all angles of the home, is that correct? Would you agree with that?
It's fairly, I don't know if they got every single side, but they certainly got kind of most of what you could get from the public facing, walking around. It certainly is at least 3 sides.
Shows how to get into the place, or at least some paths in and out.
Yes, it depicts some general paths around the island
Sure.
leading to the.
Showed where there was a padlock on a gate, it looked like.
Yes, sir.
Showed where some fences were to possibly get into it.
Yes, sir.
Not just the front side of a street view.
Correct. Additional photographs.
Thank you. I'll come back to that later, but I continue, and I tried to jump around a little bit, but we did talk about proposed defendant Molitor's proposed Exhibit B, and I think you've looked at those as photos.
Yes, sir.
And what are these photos of? Who took them? And
So these are the live photos. So with the iPhone, it's the 3-second burst. So it'll have a second before and a second after when the image was taken. And these are the printouts of those live photos. These photographs were found on Adam Fox's phone, pursuant to a search warrant following the October 7th arrests. And these photographs are of the governor's residence on Timberlake Drive.
okay. And do they fairly and accurately depict what the, I'll say cottage, but residence looks like
Yes, sir.
from Timberlake Drive?
Yes,
If someone were to drive by, that's what they would see.
yes. At that time.
I would move for the admission of proposed Exhibit B for defendant Molitor, Your Honor.
No objection, just to note for the record that the first photo is obviously the same as Exhibit 126 that we admitted earlier.
Okay.
No. We think it's a discretion in the court.
Exhibit B, ours, Exhibit B.
Thank you. Thank you, Agent Harris. So could you still have your pointer?
Sir.
Awesome. Could you tell us what's in this first picture?
Sure. So this is CHS Dan right here in the driver's seat of his truck. Adam Fox is in the passenger seat, taking a picture across Dan as they're headed south on Timberlake Drive. This is the governor's residence on Birch Lake. This is their driveway.
Okay. Was this one single picture, or are these 4 pictures sort of the 2 to 3 second view that you would get with these new phones that they offer a little bit extra than just a picture? They have a short time. Can you explain how these pictures relate?
Sure. Yeah, so this with an iPhone, this is a live photo, I believe it's called, and it's the 3-second burst. So this is how it shows up on the thumbnail and when you're looking in your photo gallery, but then it's like an actual like moving picture. It's a 3-second clip. So it's actually a video, I guess you'd call it.
Okay. So this is a video technically, and out of that video you retrieved 4 different angles, I'll say. Is that a way to explain it?
1, 2, 3. Yeah, so there's actually, I was able to see 7, but you've got 4 here. And these are 4 different pictures that have like 3-second bursts or 3-second videos.
Okay. Thank you. Would you like to look at any of the other pictures that you have, and maybe we can see if he's got any additional testimony, if you wouldn't mind, Agent? That is that another angle?
Yeah, this is an angle here. This is the same driveway. It's got a tree in the middle of it.
And that little thing on the left side, is that on their property? You believe that to be the neighbors?
No, this is, the property line is right behind this shed. So this little shed here belongs to the governor.
Okay. And again, street side.
Correct. Yes, this is the street side, looking east.
Next, please. Same thing, just a different second away, basically, as they're moving down the street.
Yep, this is a little bit north of the previous vantage point, but it's the same residence.
You know, if the color is blue or some sort of blue, is that correct?
Yes.
Has the cottage always been blue to your knowledge?
No, I believe it was painted at some period in time.
Next, thank you, so that is it. That's fine, I'm prepared to go to C. Which may be the same thing, but we'll see, and we'll need your help, actually. Can we, I believe C are some videos, again, Adam's videos, and I'm guessing they're on a different direction going back and forth. Have you been able to identify the 7, I think you said, clips of videos from Adam's phone as well?
I did, and those are the clips that correspond with Exhibit B, the photographs. These are the 3-second clips, the 7 of them that I was referring to.
Okay. I'd move for the admission of defendant's exhibit, Molitor's Exhibit C, proposed exhibit.
Since proposed exhibit C, the videos themselves.
I believe so. There's 7 clips is what they have.
Okay.
I'll let him describe those, but there's some duplication, I'm going to guess here.
Is this the document, my side, that placeholder, so I'm aware of what it is?
There's a document, I'll show you what I,
I guess my question is, are the videos themselves exhibit C, or is that being software admission as well? Subject to the discussion again, that there may be some issues to it.
I'm going to give a thumb drive of these 7 pictures,
Okay.
and then we'll have this page changed. The jury will receive just the page to remind them that they've seen the published video. And if they wish to see a copy, I can provide it, or the court could provide your copy.
Mr. Walton?
No objection. Thank you.
Mr. Okay, Chris, back on the record, the videos that comprise what's been described as defendant's exhibit C as in Charlie, for Lieutenant Molitor, will be referenced.
Okay, could you please publish those, Agent Harris? Thank you. Yes, if you can run through each one, if you wouldn't mind. just to give a description of what we've just seen, if you wouldn't mind, Agent Impala?
Sure. Those were the live video or the live photos that were found on Adam Fox's phone pursuant to the search warrant on October 7th, 2020. They correspond with the pictures in the last exhibit.
So those were like the fleeting videos of which you took pictures of later, still pictures.
So there's just one electronic video, and that's those 3-second snapshots. And then what they look like is they look like this. So there's not a picture that correspond another picture. There's just one iPhone live photograph of the 3-second image, and then it shows up like this in your gallery, your photo gallery on your phone. If you send it and you don't have an iPhone, this is just what it looks like as the photograph if you don't have the moving iPhone capability for the live photo.
Okay, and if you were looking to look at someone's house and this was the house, those videos and pictures show everything anybody would want to see from the street. Fair enough?
Oh, no.
From the street.
No, they don't show nearly enough. You'd need to get a lot of, need to know where that house is in the neighborhood, which driveway it is. You need to see security cameras available from the street. You need to look at security cameras of the surrounding neighboring houses. So you need to be able to have a complete, more thorough video or capture of the neighborhood.
Okay, thank you. Our next exhibit, I believe, which is going to be D. Proposed Molitor's defendant, Molitor's exhibit D. Can you tell us what you're looking at there?
Sure. This is, let's see there. So this is a 9-pager. This is a printout from realtor.com, and it is a printout of historical photographs of the governor's residence. There's 13 photographs noted on the realtor.com printout.
Have you gone to the realtor.com or plugged in the address, which we won't say at this time, but if you plug in that address to see what comes up top, your first choice is a link. When you put something like that in with their address.
Well, when you plug things into Google, Google will provide things based on your previous search history and algorithm. So for me, I already know where her address is and I put it in, but I do think this is fair and accurate depiction of realtor.com.
Thank you. I would go for the admission of defendant Molitor's proposed exhibit.
Just a quick word here question. Agent Impala, at the top of the page there, left-hand side, what's the date and time this is produced?
This is August 6th, 2023, 4:06 p.m.
No objection.
I would
Use in the discretion.
Sorry.
Give us the discretion.
Defendant's exhibit D as in Delta, Eric Molitor's exhibit D will be in there.
Thank you. Could we please publish the pictures? Would you mind doing your thing with your pointer?
Yeah, no problem.
What do you see in this picture? What side of the house is that from?
This is the northwest corner of the residence. You can kind of see here as you scroll through the photographs that this is like the preview pane and the picture is up here. So this bottom pane is a little off. So I would look right up here for the majority of the picture. This is picture number 1 with the northwest corner of the governor's residence.
Okay, why would a current picture show up on the site, presumably on August 6th, have a brown paint job with it?
So the way I understand realtor.com to work is that when somebody uploads their photographs to sell their house, They become part of the public record of that sale, and you can access them and look at them through the website if you've got a username and password, or sometimes they're publicly available.
How many other real estate sites have this picture or a link to this picture, if you know?
Well, one I like is Zillow. I know that Zillow is a pretty good one. I imagine there's other local real estate sites.
I think you testified previously that Mr. Fox was on Zillow. I'm not holding you to that, but wasn't there some sort of mention on the drive up here that there was a review of Zillow by Adam Fox?
I did testify previously, and the way I can recall it is that when they were at the Oasis Red Bull Tavern, I heard them discussing Zillow. They may have discussed it as well in the write-up, but I do remember hearing them talk about Zillow.
Do you also hear them talk about a realtor page in general?
Yes.
In fact, you've done a phone dump on Adam Fox, correct?
That's correct.
So you know what he was looking at then. I assume you've gone back to see what he's on the ride up there, and he's looking for pictures or maps or blueprints or addresses. You know what he looked up, do you not?
I was unable to find his search history from this day when I looked at his phone, but I think it's accurate from listening to the audio. I could hear him looking up things on the call, or on the live audio, excuse me.
Okay. This same picture is something that the Wolverine, this type of picture, is this the same picture that was put out by the Wolverine Watchman on May 22nd of 2020 on their Facebook page with the governor's address on it 3 months prior to the afternoon ride, the daytime ride?
It's not the same picture, but I know the one you're referencing. There was a photograph posted on Wire on the meme chat by Pete Musico in May, in which he showed a current picture of the governor's residence taken by members of the press. It was a news article, and it referenced her address in the encrypted meme chat for the Watchman.
Okay, so the Watchman had her address and a picture of her home back in May 2020.
I don't know if they knew that was her current home. I believe when it was posted on the meme chat, they were making fun of her, and it happened to be a meme they chose to make fun of her from a news article from the Record Eagle in which her address was there. So, but her address was on that meme back in May.
And Adam Fox was on that page or had access to that Wire or not?
No, he did not have access. He was not on that page.
You're sure that wasn't on a regular Facebook page that they had?
It could have been. I think there was frequent references during that time to the governor's residence up here. So I'm not saying it wasn't on Facebook, but the one I'm familiar with and the one that I saw in Discovery was from encrypted wire chats with the Watchman.
Okay. Did you collect evidence? You were in charge of the Wolverine Watchman investigation, correct?
Yes, sir.
You were the guy, the person. Did you serve a search warrant to Facebook folks and get everything from that time period on?
Yes.
So you have what was on the Facebook. So was this on the Facebook or not? This picture and the address, not this picture, but a picture of the street side view of the cottage. I'll call it cottage.
I couldn't find it on Facebook. I'm not saying it wasn't there. I also wasn't looking for it on Facebook because I saw it through the Wire app, and I saw that it was referenced in news articles.
Okay. So, but this is the street side there. Can we proceed through one by one? Agent Harris, thank you. And what's this?
So this is the lakeside right here. Just disregard this bottom portion. That's still the street side. It's like the banner ribbon of the photograph when you print it. This is the lakeside, absent the current paint job.
Okay, and what does that show? Just to someone looking that up.
It shows I think on the lake, it's the front porch and the windows that are accessible from the front porch.
So if there's some sort of amphibious entry, water side, this would be the side that would be approached.
Yes, this would be the assault side from the water if you're coming from the dock.
Okay, next, please.
This is a photograph from the boat launch on the north side of Birch Lake. Disregard this ribbon that's in the old picture.
Okay, even a boat launch pictures in there available to the public. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, sir.
And next, please. What does this show us?
This is the lakeside, and this is zoomed out a little bit through the trees. There's a little path right here that kind of meanders through the trees that goes out to the boat launch. So this is zoomed out a little bit from the front porch.
Okay, we could basically say this is a historic picture in some ways in that the paint is brown and it's no longer brown.
That's correct.
Is that fair to say?
Yes, sir.
That this has been on the site, at least from the brown paint view,
Yes,
quite a
sir.
while.
Yes.
Do you know when the paint changed from brown to blue in your investigation?
I don't remember when the paint changed, but I think a lot of times you look at the past sale, and I think there was a sale of the property in like 2006. And so my assumption was that's when these pictures were posted, but I don't know.
Does the cottage still look like this today, the same structure of the cottage? At least from the lakeside?
Yeah, so this porch is still here with the new paint color. It looks a little different. The tree cover and the paths are a little bit different. But for the most part, the porch and the cabin is the same.
Are you familiar with Zillow and how it will pop to other sites to get to an address? And whether this one did that?
I'm familiar with Zillow. I've used it before. I'm not quite sure what you mean by popping to different sites.
Well, it might just refer it to another link that's not part of Zillow, but they have.
Oh, so you click on a house?
Yeah. Through Zillow.
I think what you mean is if you go down and click on that property, you could see some of the similar pictures.
Okay.
If that's what you mean.
Would you agree it's not too hard to find these pictures if you have the address?
If you have the address and you know what you're looking for, you certainly could do a lot of damage online as far as finding pictures.
Okay. And next picture, please. Is it possible we have a picture of everything but this kitchen sink? Or is this the next one? I'm sorry. We'll get to the sink in a second. What's this show you as well? Is this still lakeside?
Yeah, this is a lakeside pic.
Anything different from the other pictures?
No, it's pretty much the same.
Thank you. Next, please. This picture is from where?
This is a picture from inside the governor's residence. It's looking out through the patio doors onto the front porch, and then you can kind of see so this is the stairs off the front porch, and then this is that little trail that meanders up to the dock here on Birch Lake.
Okay, next, please. That is kitchen sink.
Oh yeah, that's the kitchen sink.
Everything, including the kitchen sink. Next, please. What's this look like?
This is a view kind of out the northeast window. The previous view was out the southeast window, so it's kind of a V shape that faces the lake. And so this window bank is now looking kind of across the neighbor's property here.
Agent, have you been in the cottage itself, or residence, as you call it?
Yes.
And these pictures look strikingly familiar still to this day as to the structure of the cottage/residence.
It's different furniture, but it is definitely the same structure and residence.
Okay. I'm all set with that. Thank you. How's your neck doing?
So far, so good. Thank you.
How about Defendant Molitor's Exhibit E? This is going to be familiar.
Yes, I have it here.
This was previously entered as
126.
126. Thank you, Mr. Ralston. This is Defendant Molitor's proposed Exhibit E, which matches the prosecutor's 126. Can you tell everyone what these items are? It's like a number of pages. It says Alpha Fox on top.
Yes, sir.
What's going on here?
This is a 9-pager. These are photographs taken from Adam Fox's phone. They're photographs of a one-on-one encrypted chat using wire between Eric Molitor and Adam Fox.
I move for the admission of Defendant Molitor's proposed Exhibit E, which does match 126. It will be found in my packet to be distributed to the juries, subject to this not coming in, but I move for its submission.
Mr. Wilson?
No objection.
Mr. Nundy?
Into discretion.
Mr. Sapp?
Thank you, Judge. We don't really do the discretion report.
Defendant's Exhibit E as an echo, Defendant Molitor's Exhibit E will be.
And could we publish that at least on the wall? Hopefully this is legible. And it looks like a discussion, does it not, Agent, between Alpha Fox and Barricade?
Yes, sir.
Is there a date on that?
I don't know when the top date is, but there's a date right here, Thursday, August 27th.
Okay.
Midway down the page.
So if we were going to go past that, you may have read this before, but it looks like that's coming from Alpha Fox saying want to go for a ride Saturday and do some recon.
Yes, that's correct.
Do you believe that to be Adam Fox writing Mr. Molitor?
Yes.
And his response is, you got a place in mind. I'm dropping the kids off tomorrow to the X in Big Rapids. Already planned on scoping out hotels and motels for some stuff I heard about. Our Cadillac crew has us and surrounding areas under watch, so that's badass. We've got a lot of good people in Michigan, dude, but anyways, where's the ride you want to take? Is that a fair summary?
Yes, sir.
And what are the hotels and motels mean to you from your investigations?
They don't mean anything to me.
You don't know that Mr. Molitor's given interviews to the FBI and or state police in this case, maybe 2 or 3, maybe more?
I am aware of that. I'm aware of his statements about the hotels and motels, but to me, that's an unrelated subject that he's bringing up that somebody else is doing. And it's in the middle of this discussion about doing recon on a high-profile vacation house.
Okay. But it looks like his idea of recon is going to hotels and motels on August 27th.
That's not how I interpret that text.
Okay. How about Ms. Nunzio brought up the fact that we had some unrest going on at the end of August, and I believe it was tied into Wisconsin.
Yes, I'm familiar with the Kenosha shooting with Kyle Rittenhouse.
And she gave me a history lesson relative to George Floyd earlier in the summer as well. Is that a fair statement? Same troubles?
There was some civil unrest throughout the United States.
Okay. And isn't it likely that the hotels, motels, Cadillac crew in this entire statement is about security of a community and watching out for bad actors coming into the region that Mr. Molitor lives in? Isn't it likely that's what he's talking about?
there's a lot of other context and interpretation that is not in the statement there that I don't have knowledge of. I'm not saying that that didn't happen. I don't know what the Cadillac crew is. I don't know which hotels and motels, and I don't know about the stuff that they were talking about.
Okay. But nobody sat Mr. Molitor down and interviewed him prior to his arrest, did they?
That's correct.
Those would be good questions to ask, and then they like, what's this mean?
Those were questions that were asked, yes.
Okay. Those would have been good questions to ask prior to his arrest, wouldn't they?
Objection before the question, Judge. There was an arrest warrant signed by a judge before Mr. Molitor was taken into custody.
I'll move on. Thank you. Let's flip to the next page. Well, let me just, before we do that, Adam, there's a bottom line there. I think you pointed that out already, but it indicated, and I'll read it. We doing recon on a high profile vacation house, right?
Correct.
Okay. And that vacation house, hotels, motels, those are places where people stay, is that right?
People do stay in hotels, people do stay in motels, and people do stay in vacation houses.
Right. We've got Airbnbs and all that business going on. There's more and more houses, I guess, nowadays, too.
Yes, I'm familiar with the Airbnbs. I'm sure it's a business around here.
Yeah. Okay. And looks like load out. That means I'm ready to go and need to know where to meet. That's what's starting off at the top there.
Yes, sir.
And, Adam's going to scoop them up on the way, right?
Yes, sir.
And it says, send me your address.
Yes, right here.
So that would be an indication that Adam Fox on August 27th wasn't aware of Mr. Molitor's address, or at least didn't have it with him at that time.
That seems fair.
Do you know if Adam Fox ever went to Mr. Molitor's house before August 27th?
No, I don't. I don't know the answer.
Thank you. So Barricade's got another guy with him tomorrow who has stood by his side with him as well. Is that basically paraphrasing that response fairly?
Yes.
Who's the other guy from your interviews and investigation?
I don't know.
Okay. And looks like Alpha Fox indicates they may go to Detroit. Do you know what that's about?
I believe there was some discussion about riots in Detroit.
Okay. So this is all consistent with security work against riots or protecting cities or whatever, protecting property or people, isn't it? From what we're looking at here so far.
All of it? No, it's not consistent, all of it with that. I believe there's discussion about specifically reconning a high-profile vacation house, which doesn't have anything to do with riots.
Okay. Well, you were aware that there were rumors that van loads of people were coming up from the cities to northern Michigan where you're not and staying at hotels.
I'm not aware of those rumors, but if that's what you're saying, the hotel and motel references, I don't have a basis of knowledge for that.
Okay, you didn't investigate to see what the FBI knew about that during the summer?
We didn't know anything about that.
Did the FBI investigate the riots of the Antifa, Black Lives Matter, or any of these groups that were gathering to protest either the George Floyd and or Kyle Rittenhouse, any of these issues that came up?
Well, I'm aware that the FBI has specific criminal investigations when criminal conduct occurred. So for instance, in Grand Rapids at the end of May, I believe there was a Molotov cocktail thrown, there was windows that were broken. And so those are that types of criminal activity would be investigated if it occurs and there's some sort of federal nexus. The Kyle Rittenhouse incident, I don't believe there was a federal nexus, but the FBI is always able to help local police if they need help. So there's a number of different avenues that as a member of law enforcement we could assist in riots or civil unrest if needed. It's just dependent upon what our role would be and what the local police department needs and if there's a federal crime.
You know if the FBI made any arrests in Michigan for any of these riots?
When you say any of the riots, are you talking about the span of the entire summer?
Yeah.
And are you talking about specifically federal arrests?
Well, federal or state, if similar, I guess, to this case where the federal government's sitting in a state court. You're not aware, are you?
I'm not aware of specific arrests, but it's fair to say there probably was some.
Okay, but you don't know, do you?
I didn't specifically perform any arrests during the summer, and I don't know of other specific instances. I just don't want it to appear that we didn't do it. I think it's likely that we did make some arrests.
Okay, next, please. Thank you. We get to the next page, and it's talking about locations. All surveillance, right?
Oh, yes, right here. I see it.
That's coming from whom? Adam Fox?
Yes, it's from Adam Fox, and this is August 28th, 2020.
Okay, so that's a continuation to the next day, right?
Yes, sir.
And were there any missed, I'll call them text messages because that's what this is, right? Are these text or Facebook?
These are encrypted wire chats.
Okay. Did are you aware of any of these were cut out and there's clipping or missing back and forth? Anything missing back and forth here?
So these are pictures taken by an agent as he's scrolling through the phone.
Okay.
And I believe you pointed out previously when we entered this exhibit that between one of the pages, there might have been a statement made by Mueller that got cut off and didn't show up on the next page as the agent is scrolling through taking pictures.
Okay. But certainly no intent to hide any of the comments, right?
No intent. If you know what Mr. Mueller was saying,
Okay.
I'd be happy to review it.
Thank you. Next bit, please. Thank you. And I take it this is a map. Says something at top. I won't be available for Lansing, but the other one I'm in. That's probably from Mr. Molitor.
Yeah, so this is a continuation of the last chat. Adam Fox is going through with 3 different attack options, 1, 2, and 3 with the coded language.
Okay.
1 is Lansing in the coded language. So when Mueller responds to Lansing, he's referring to location 1. That's what this statement is right here.
Okay. So he's not calling it. What's he calling? He's calling it Lansing. No?
Yeah, so he's calling it what it is, and Adam Fox is calling it the coded language.
And he's counting number 2. Locations Bel Air, way at the top by the red.
Correct. So the coded language here is location 2 is Bel Air, which is this route right here off towards the Bel Air area.
And he actually puts the word Bel Air in there, doesn't he?
I believe he did, yes, in the previous year. I've got it. Oh, no, it doesn't. He just says, have intel on 3 already. We'll knock out 1 and 2 tomorrow.
Okay, let's pop on to the next one, please. Thank you. Now that this is what I was actually referring to when he says number 1 is Lansing, location 2 is Bel Air.
Oh, sure.
That's where I was getting Bel Air. It would be unreasonable to understand that Mr. Molitor thought he was going to Bel Air, Michigan, right?
Yes, I think that's reasonable. He seems to know the location numbers.
Okay. Could we keep going? And my vision's not real great. I'm gonna guess that's another map, Google map.
Yes, this is another Google map here. And there's a discussion about a McDonald's in Calcasta as a potential meeting spot.
Okay, next, please. Did Mr. Molitor ever go to Lansing on this date?
No, not to my knowledge.
And what's this page tell you? It looks like barricades, copy, busy man driving and whatnot, but that will work just fine, brother.
This is Eric Mahler giving Adam Fox an update on what he's doing.
Looks like the date was changed from Sunday to doing it Sunday now.
Well, Adam Fox thought about changing the date, but then shortly thereafter, in the next text message, he said, "NBM, we okay for tomorrow." So he thought here about doing it Sunday, then went back to Saturday a few seconds later.
Okay. Next, please. Just more back and forth discussion here, I take it. Nothing remarkable.
That's correct.
Just basically, I'll be here, you come and get me. Is that about it?
It's fair.
How about the next page? And hopefully final page. At the top, it says, "Oh, you want to patch in with us or what, brother?" What's patch in mean in the paramilitary lingo?
I'd say you want to join us.
Just want to join on the ride? Well, why don't you think about that? I'm going to retract that question. It says shitty, choose the language, shitty holster. I have, works nice with it.
Yes, I see that right here.
Okay. I don't know why, where is the rest of the message from 1 hour out from you? And we'll certainly have blank holster. I have works nice with it. I can't see everything up there. Looks like that's what it would read if we could see the whole line.
Yeah, so as you're scrolling through the phone taking photographs,
Yeah.
this top line is cut off, and then I know this to be Adam Fox here,
Sure.
and then this to be Eric Mahler, so you don't see Adam Fox here where it would say Alpha Fox like this.
Well, there must be some discussion that's missing, correct?
I couldn't tell you, all I can tell you is what I can see on the exhibit here.
Wouldn't it look to you like he's asking him to join his militia group right there?
Yeah, so I think this statement, so you want to patch in with us or what, brother, I think is a reference to joining the militia group.
Isn't patching in, isn't that the quote unquote saying as they are asking someone to join their organization, so to speak?
Yeah, I think that's a fair statement. He's asking him to join
And
his team.
I let you think about it because you were thinking maybe it was just patching in on the ride. But if you look at the next paragraph, it would be not the ride, right?
I think this is a general statement, are you with me as part of my team? That sort of thing.
Well, you put him on the team as you talked about it, and you said he was one of Adam's team, right? Or group, I guess.
Presented evidence, I haven't placed him on a team at all, but we've presented his own statements.
Okay, but Adam's statements.
We presented Eric Mahler's statements too, saying he's 110% in.
Okay, that's when you joined the Facebook page in June of that year.
No, that's when Adam Fox asked him if he wanted to join the Michigan Regiment of the 2nd Continental Army, and he said he was 110% in.
Right. So let's look at this here. Let me work with you for a little bit before I commit. This is in August. Okay, right? I'm not making these dates up. This is in August, and he's trying to get him to come into his group in August. And you've told us he's joined much earlier, so I'm confused, but let's read this. Let me work with you for a little bit before I commit. I've had bad luck with groups. I'm always willing to work with people though, but I would like the ability to make an informed decision. In August, Mr. Molitor saying that to Mr. Fox, right?
That's correct.
So if he's already in his group at that point, why is he being asked to patch into the group right now?
Well, my opinion, based on
If you know, not your opinion, but if you know, why? Because you told us he's already been in the group much earlier, and he's 110% in the group. But now he's being invited in August. And you compound a question, which I have, but can you help us understand
Sure.
that inconsistency about his group membership?
Sure. So I believe that these statements right here occur on the 29th after they've done the surveillance. And I believe the specific reference here is a follow-up to Exhibit 134, where he asks him if he's in for the mission.
Okay,
And then he further describes the mission as the snatch and grab.
all right. And we talked about that on Monday, didn't we?
Yes, sir.
In fact, that came out in the morning, didn't it?
Yes.
In fact, you've been working on this case, I'm going to guess 4 years if it started in 2019. 4 actual years now?
Started in 2020, so 3 years.
20,
Yes, sir.
21? I have 4, but
Yep, ladies and gentlemen, let's take an afternoon break. That's about 10 after, let's take 10 to 15 minutes. Okay, the record can reflect the jury's vote. Let's go back on the record then. We're back on our afternoon break. Anything before we bring the jury back? Mr. Wilson?
No, sir.
Mr.
No,
Mosley?
thank you.
Mr. Steiner?
No, thank you.
Mr. Barnett?
No, you're right.
Okay, all rise to the jury.
back to the one just shitty holster. Thank you.
All right, everyone, can you see? We'll probably left off with prosecuting Barnett.
Thank you very much, Your Honor. Just before the jury came in, I asked Agent Harris to pop back one step, and so we were on the one that said shitty holster. I have, works nice with it, and we're on the one right before that. Thank you. At the bottom, and I'm saying that for the benefit of our witness, Agent Impala. At the bottom, it does look like barricade is there with a blue right above type of message. So there would be a response to barricade, that'd be a statement by barricade right under that, wouldn't it?
Yes.
So let's pop to the second one, if we could, please, Agent Harris, the page following this that's been included with this exhibit and Mr. Ralston's exhibit as well. And at the top, it looks like, excuse my language again, shitty holster I have works nice with it. And again, that's Adam Fox saying that, as well as, so you want to patch in with this or what, brother?
Yes.
So where's the statement from the page before that was barricade? And what was said there, if you know?
I don't know what was said, and it was skipped through here when the scrolling was done and the pictures were taken on the phone.
Are any of these other pages, do they include skipped messages as well?
No, it looked to me like you were able to see for the other pages, you could see the previous statement. So I didn't notice any other statements that would have been skipped, but if you see any, be happy to review them.
Okay. I'm all set with that exhibit. Thank you very much, Agent Impala. I would look to, excuse my mind turning around. The blue usually means Facebook, but I'm going to move for the submission in a second of Defendant Molitor's Exhibit F. And I'll let you get situated.
Yes, so I have F here.
And you've seen that before, have you not?
Yes, I created this.
Yeah, it's actually on the prosecution's exhibit list, is it not?
Yes, sir. It originally was, and then we decided not to enter this exhibit.
Okay, well, I'm not going to ask you what Mr. Ralston decided, but you did have this on the list, is that correct?
Yes, I created this exhibit.
All right, so you're familiar with it. Can you tell the jury and the court what is on that exhibit?
Sure. This is a single page document. It's got 2 Facebook business records, and it's obtained pursuant to search warrant for Eric Molitor and Adam Fox's Facebook accounts. And these, the chats on the left are from May 31st, 2020, and the chats on the right are from June 1st, 2020.
Okay, late spring, early summer.
Yes, sir.
And they're from Eric Molitor, actually back and forth with Fox Ad, which would be.
Yes, it's part of a Facebook discussion between Eric Molitor and Adam Fox.
Okay. I'm going to move for the admission of what was plaintiff's number 20. It's going to be Defendant Molitor's proposed Exhibit F. We'd like to have that admitted.
Mr. Ralston.
No objection.
Mr. Nunzio.
In the leave it to the discretion.
Mr. Seiler.
Thank you, Mr. We also leave it to the discretion.
Defendant's Exhibit F, Foxtrot, Defendant Molitor's Exhibit F will be.
Thank you for your courtesies again, Mr. Ralston, with these exhibits. Hoping you might have what do you see up there, Agent?
Yes. So this left side, this is the Facebook business record. And then right here is the beginning of the individual thread discussion here between Eric Molitor and Adam Fox. And they're talking on Facebook.
Okay. So you've got your black boxes on there again, right?
Yes, I created the black boxes.
And that means what to you?
Well,
In general.
initially, when I created it, I had points and pertinent discussion that we were going to introduce from the prosecution side.
Well,
So this is what I thought was pertinent here.
okay. In your opinion, you felt that it was important for the jury and or the court to hear Mr. Molitor saying something to Mr. Fox, right?
Well, there was a process of trying to call down unnecessary exhibits, I decided, and ultimately the prosecution decided that this wasn't important. But
Okay.
initially, we thought it might be.
So do you happen, Agent Harris, to have zoom in on either of these comments? That would be, well, you probably don't have yours open for Exhibit 20, or do you?
5 years.
Okay, so let's just read these. It's a small print and maybe,
I can zoom to if you want me to zoom.
okay.
Tell me where.
Left side, square, black. And I see that that's the first statement, it looks like. Thank you, very good. Good. Can you read that to the jury?
Sure. So this is from May 31st, 2020. Eric Molitor stated, "You went to GR today. I'm about to come down and help protect shit."
Okay. And let's do what Mr. Seibler wants to do, and I think he's got a good idea. Can we just maybe read those as they go on?
Sure. Adam Fox replied last night, and then Adam Fox later on May 31st, 2020 stated, "You're gonna head down tonight."
Okay. So could we zoom back out or, all right, top right? Is that the top first statement?
Yes.
Okay. And looking at it, does seem to meet with that. These are again Facebook messages, right?
Right.
Are these on, if people are looking at a page, did they see them? Or are they what I might call PM or a private message, or not really private, but they're not on the front of the wall, they go behind? Are they on?
Yeah, so they're not on the wall. These are part of Facebook Messenger. So they're DMs, direct messages between Adam Fox and Eric Molitor.
Okay. Learning a little bit about Facebook. And could you read what Adam wrote to Eric on a DM, direct message?
Can't quite see who wrote this, but it says here, "Okay, OMW to Lansing now.
And what does OMW mean to?
On my way."
Thank you. And how did Mr. Molitor,
We responded with a voice clip, an audio clip.
do you have that voice clip?
I do, but I don't have it prepared here today. But
Okay.
in our discovery, we have it.
Oh, can you summarize what his response was to the best of your ability?
No, I don't recall. I don't remember this one. It wasn't one that I had listened to in preparation for this.
Okay, it didn't rise to the level of a black box, did it?
That's correct.
So it's not significant, or whatever word you use to support your highlights, so to speak.
Correct. Just day-to-day coordination.
Okay, and it looks like Fox Ad says okay.
That's correct. Now we're on June 1st. It says okay.
That's basically a minute or two after the voice clip.
Yes, sir.
And then we go to Eric Molitor again. Same date, an hour and so, a couple minutes after.
Yes.
No, actually 50 minutes later, basically. What's he say to Adam Fox?
Eric Molitor stated, "Nothing much happened in Muskegon. Cop actually stopped and thanked all of us. We believe the show of force stopped the fuckery for tonight."
All right, sorry about the language. Is there anything under that that you did not encapsulate regarding your little box, black box? Could you repeat that? Is that going to be Adam or is that Eric?
Oh. Eric asked, "How did Lansing go?" Adam stated, "Okay, stayed till 4 a.m. Adam then stated, "Protected the entire Michigan Ave community from Antifa." Eric replied, "Good shit, man. I don't know how physical shit got in Lansing, but just our presence in Muskegon stopped the bastards from rioting."
Okay, apologize. I had gotten ahead of you with my nearsighted eyes. So is there anything else? That's why is that circle, or why is there a black square there? And not other things?
Well, I selected the black square because I wanted to show the jury at this time that Adam Fox was deploying operationally with Eric Molitor, so they had an existing relationship at the time.
Okay, but it looks like a pretty good relationship, at least positive forces going here and helping law enforcement.
I would say it's a pretty developed relationship at this time.
You would say that they're helping the police, would you not, sir?
I say they are going out and they're patrolling on their own.
Okay, but it looks like they're going to different cities. One went to Lansing, one went to Muskegon. So they're not working together, are they?
Well, they're deploying to separate areas and then coordinating and communicating about their respective areas.
Okay, but back in June or late May, you indicated they were in the same militia.
Well, shortly after this, on June 4th, is the text exchange and voice audio exchange that I was referring to, where Adam Fox asks Eric Molitor if he wants to join the 2nd Continental Regiment, and then he replies.
Okay. But isn't it true there was no training with Adam and Eric until September? That's the only FTX that they've ever gone to, that they were at the same FTX?
I don't know about physical locations. I mean, I've learned throughout the investigation that Eric Molitor was performing medical classes and medical trainings.
Okay.
I don't know if they were all online. I know they'd also trained together at various times through Michigan Home Guard training, I know there's references to training, but I don't know if they were all in person or online, what the extent of their training together was.
Okay. Can you just read the rest that you haven't, please, Agent Impola? Thank you for your help.
This is from Eric Molitor on June 1st, 2020. I'm glad y'all are okay, man. This shit gets dicey quick, but fuck those asshats, bro. I can't stand stupid riders, stupid PP touchers.
Okay. Is that where that ends, or is there more on the second page, or why did it stop there?
So these were the only 2 pages that I prepared for this exhibit, but their discussion goes on, generally speaking, but I didn't view it as pertinent.
Okay. Could be just Facebook buddies talking back and forth and sharing their experiences that are similar, like-minded, and positive.
It's just, I think, just normal discussion back and forth between friends and coworkers.
Okay, fair enough. Let's take a look, if we could, at Defendant Molitor's proposed Exhibit G. Getting to the end.
Awesome.
Thanks for your patience.
I have it here.
What does that look like to you?
This is the raw chat from the FAFO, the Fuck Around and Find Out group on Wire. So as I described previously, when we're logged in through CHS Dan's account, before it auto deletes, my team and I would access the content and then copy and paste all the content from the page, and we'd put it into a Word document. So we'd have a running copy of whatever was going on in the chat group. That's what this document is here.
Okay, this is a 2-page document, is it not?
Yes, sir.
In fact, page 1's been admitted already, and the prosecutor said, I think, 113.
It's a similar document, but what was admitted previously was a screen capture. So in addition to copying verbatim the running chats,
Yes.
from time to time, my team would take screen captures of how it looks like
Yeah.
on what we thought were pertinent chats. So the document that was admitted previously was a screen capture, and then this is the actual running document with the raw chat.
Okay. So we could call this the first page on your exhibit that's previously been given, and this one has to do with, okay, well, how does everyone feel about kidnapping, correct?
Correct.
That's the one we're talking about here.
Yes.
So you
this is true and accurate as to the chat.
All right, I'd move for the admission of Defendant Molitor's Exhibit G for good. Easy.
Well,
No objection.
Ms. Nutter?
Just brief one here.
Sure.
The no others were not on this chat, correct?
That's correct.
We feel line for discussion, right?
Mr. Sauer?
We do agree with Ms. Nunzio and move that we are on this discussion.
Okay. Defendant's Exhibit G as in golf. Defendant Molitor's Exhibit G will be.
Thank you very much, Your Honor. Could we, thank you, Agent Harris. So this is FAFO, just to be nice about it. That's the name of this group, right?
Yes, sir.
And that's Baker, Dean Z, Doc, Gunny, and Red Hot. Maybe a quick rundown on those aliases and or handles or nicknames.
Sure. So Beaker is Dan Harris, Dean is Adam Fox, Doc is Paul Bellar.
I'm sorry, could we start over?
Yes, no, I'm sorry.
That's not, I just lost track of it.
Okay. So Beaker is the handle for Dan Harris. Dean Z is the handle for Adam Fox. Doc is the handle for Paul Bellar. Gunny is the handle for Ty Garvin. And Red Hot is the handle for Caleb Franks.
Okay, and what does that mean? F around and find out. Width, what's the width for?
So these are
If you know.
these are individuals who were originally in the chat group.
Yep. And that's 7/29/2020.
That's correct.
And let's just take a look here. Basically, not too much being said there. Won't call out everybody's name there, but Dan, I think, was ETADIK, right?
Yeah, so Eat a Dick is Dan. CHS Dan.
Thank you. What are they talking about? In boom, gang, y'all can bring others in. I only had a smaller list. What's that?
Dan is letting people know he's in the chat using boom.
Okay.
And then he's telling Adam Fox or anybody else in the chat, you can invite whoever you want into the chat.
Okay. Is this where the chat started on 7/29, or is this a clip as well?
But, no, it started on 7/29.
Okay. And at 9:48, looks like a slew of folks are being brought in. Barricade, Mark, Michael, Tex, Tony, Kodak, to the
Correct.
conversation. Do we know whether any of those people have read what's happened here prior to the automatic delete?
I'm sorry, I don't know what the automatic delete is. Oh,
Self-delete?
the self-deleting from the encrypted chat.
Yeah.
I can't tell you what people have read. All I can tell you is what's in the chat.
Okay. So these 2 pages, is that the end of the discussion from this group?
No.
Or was there, I think you said it went 100 pages.
It went on for a bit. I don't think it was 100 pages because they moved from this platform to another platform on Threema,
Yeah.
and that one went on. So it's kind of broken up, but it was an extended discussion on 2 chat platforms for the faithful group.
Okay. So if we were to continue down, looks like Dean Z's Adam Fox, right?
Yes, sir.
Adam Dean Fox, come on, right on down. Looks like they're putting their initial on there, but keep floating if you could, please, Agent Harris. Hi, Dad. All right, stop right there. It looks like, is this the ETADIK? Is it his group? Is your CHS? I'm sorry, Dan, is he the one that put this together? And Adam's asking, what's the deal with this group?
Well, I can read this statement. Would you like me to read this statement?
Yes, sir.
Adam Fox stated, "Eat a dick. Please explain the purpose of this group."
Okay. And the response to that is,
CHS Dan here stated, "Get everyone talking on the same page to move forward as one body, so to speak. Overall, be able to communicate in a timely manner for training."
all right. Go on. And there's D. What does a D mean when it,
So this is Adam Fox.
Okay.
DT is his handle.
sure.
He stated, "Okay, how's everyone feel about kidnapping?
Yep.
Not kids, high profile scum,
Okay, go ahead with those.
emojis."
Those are actual emojis, and it looks like a couple are what? Funny smiles. It looks like sideways faces laughing.
Sure.
Could be kidding and joking or not, but we'll leave it at that. Can you please tell me if that was the end of your exhibit that you put in where it said,
Yes, so at the screen capture of the exhibit of the pertinent portions, it ended right here on this page.
okay, but this exhibit continues on, doesn't it?
Well, your exhibit continues on, my exhibit stops right here.
All right. So what's it say after your exhibit stopped?
After my exhibit stops, it says, "Okay, maybe kidnapping was the wrong word," with emojis. snatch and grab.
Okay, and Mark responds how?
I don't see it here.
Is that the end of the discussion on this topic, or is there more to this?
Well, the chat continues, but I don't believe, well, the faithful operators chat was generally for the kidnapping mission. So as the chat continues, it continues to go on Wire and then on Threema.
Okay, but that wasn't my question. My question was, does it continue on with this line? Why does it stop at Mark in the police reports provided to us?
It doesn't. In the preliminary exam, you showed me and you went on the 13 other pages. So I think this is where you cut off your exhibit.
Well, my exhibit was a 2-page exhibit. I think we could pull that up if we had to, but why is that part not shown on your exhibit?
This is not my exhibit.
I got you.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're asking why did I stop it right here?
Why did you clip that off?
Because the exhibit that I chose to show to the jury was the screen capture of Wire as it looks like on your phone. And I chose it because you can see the list of participants on the right side and it lists out everybody who's part of the chat.
Okay.
And I didn't. I had a little bit more. I don't have a screen capture of the second page to show right here who received this message. So I thought it was simpler just to show the single page because kidnapping and snatch and grab were similar.
Okay. My client's name, Mr. Molitor, does not show up on any response
That's correct.
on this, does it?
That's correct.
And it's likely, just as likely, even though he's in on the chat, that he didn't see this because of the self-delete portion and length and numbers and pages that we're talking about.
I can't testify whether he saw it or he didn't see it.
Thank you. Very good. Fair enough. I didn't mean to cut you off. Okay, I'm down to my last exhibit. Have you had a chance to review portions of audio that were recorded by Dan?
Yes.
CHS Dan, as you refer to him, confidential human source, he's your informant.
Yes, sir.
And one of those portions happened on August 29th, correct?
Yes.
And this was not on any other date. You're sure this is from that? You understand what happened on August 29th relative to Dan and Adam when they're coming into Cadillac?
Yes.
When they're coming into Cadillac to pick up whom?
Eric Molitor.
And they went to his home, I take it.
Yes.
And if you reviewed that 20-minute portion of tape,
Yes.
and you could identify, even if I take portions of it, say Adam and Dan knocking on, Eric Molitor's door, and this is Sue Molitor answering.
I'll do the best I can. I believe I can identify the voices.
Okay, so I do have a 20-minute clip. Would it make sense to play over 20 minutes, or could I go to the 5-minute mark and play from 5 minutes to 6:05? What I recall to be a short discussion with knock on the door, is Eric there? He's not here right now. And
I think you can skip to right to where you want to play.
would that be okay?
It certainly would.
You've listened to this enough to know that it is the correct
Yes.
audio. And if it's not, please tell me it's not, and we can start it at the beginning. There's a lot
No,
of,
absolutely. I'll let you know I'm completely comfortable with skipping right to that spot.
all right, there's a lot of corduroy sound when he's walking, and that would be Dan. I assume he's got this on his body somewhere, without going into any detail with that, right?
It's his jeans, not his corduroys.
All right. That is in there.
Needs movement.
All right, I will move for the admission of, thank you very much, Mr. Ralston. Defendant Molitor's proposed exhibit H,
And this is the audio clip. This is the full 20-minute, and we're listening to 5 to 6:05, or is the exhibit 5 to 6:05?
There's going to be a second part from 17 to 1904.
Okay, so is the exhibit both of those parts, or the full part, or the full clip?
It is the full clip, and I provide that on a thumb drive to make sure all my exhibits are in the court's
I
possession.
just wanted to make sure that we all understood what's coming. Any objection to that, Mr. Lawson?
No.
Mr. Lindsay, any objection?
3 to 5 years. What day is this book taken from?
It's from August 29th, 2020.
And the Knoll brothers aren't on this?
That's correct. This is the daytime surveillance. The Null brothers are not present.
Thank you. I the line of course section.
Defendant's exhibit H, hotel, and all this exhibit H will be in.
Do I have permission to play my portion, Your Honor?
Yes, and so, again, just so that I understand, 20-minute-ish clip entirely makes up H. You're playing 5 to 6:05, and then clip 17 minutes into something.
Yes, actually, I do have the drive here already, the thumb drive for this.
That's perfectly fine, just so we know if they're too small, it would play. But ladies and gentlemen, the full 20-minute clip would be available. So that
Thank you, Your Honor.
Where'd he go? He was supposed to be in here. Oh, all right, let me call him real quick. How are you? Not too bad.
Okay, that's 5 minutes to 6:05.
Sounds true and accurate.
And that's basically Dan and Adam walking up to the house, knocking on the door, being greeted by a female voice, presumably Ms. Molitor, Eric's mother, Sue.
I heard, I can recognize CHS Dan's voice and Adam's voice, and I'm not familiar with the voice of the other person, so.
Thank you. Did you talk to them as to who, and have you reviewed reports as to who that was?
Talk to.
The female
I'm sorry.
voice.
Talk to who?
Dan and or Adam Fox about that and confirm who that was?
No, it wasn't pertinent to me.
Did Eric Molitor tell you, or did you review reports where he indicated who it was?
I don't recall any. It may have been discussed in interviews at some point. I'm not saying that it wasn't. It just wasn't consequential to me.
Okay. They stayed there. I have this stopped at 6:05 and I bumped it up to 17, which is about 11 minutes. Would you agree that they were in the home about 11 minutes and did various things?
It was at least 11 minutes. I had done some work on timestamps for the timeline, and I thought it was more like 13 or 15 minutes, but I concur that they would still be there at 11 minutes in.
And was anything discussed of a pertinent, significant manner? Anything that would be pertinent or significant to you that you would put a box on if you had this thing transcribed?
Yes, that'd be the RF detector.
Okay, so that didn't happen until they actually left the house, though, isn't that true? Or leaving the house? It was outdoors.
When I'm listening to the audio, I just recall that The RF detector was discussed prior to heading up north.
Okay,
I don't remember if it was as they're walking outside or if they're in the house.
okay. But you might be able to tell if you were to hear it again.
I would trust the audio as the true and accurate.
All right, if it has the outside echo and so forth, that would.
Yes, that would be,
And just in the middle of that, they basically chatted about things, looked at some guns, smoked some marijuana. Someone went to the bathroom, and basically we're out of here.
that sounds fair.
Okay. Nothing naughty was talked about as far as what happened in the truck.
Correct.
Thank you. I'd like to start at 1659, which would basically be the same, and it would go to 1904. If no one objects, I'm going to publish this portion.
Camera lens detector, you turn off the lights and turn the LEDs on, and camera lenses have like a specific sheen to them, so you can see like little fucking tiny cameras and shit. Yeah, that's pretty good. That was like $50. And I usually
It's hanging good for your like wire setup.
this is magnetic, so if somebody uses a lot of things, like they don't transmit. That's how you're moving or some shit, but they'll have magnetic, you know, that's how they stick on. Oh. So what else? Check that. It does look like if I turn my phone on that side, it'll go off. Yeah,
This is 5 years old.
that's why I'm kidding.
440.
Yes.
Really, yes.
It's like really, you don't know about something, you know what I mean? Like I know you, so I automatically get stressed just because. Like, dude, awesome guy right here. Yeah, man, like when there's a special, you know.
Yes.
Hey, with your thing, then don't put you got to your mind, I know you do.
You know who,
Anybody?
1905. That would be the exhibit. So can you help us with that inside the house or out, if you know?
Well, I heard them walking and then I heard the door handles. So I think it started inside the house and then they walked outside the house and got into the car or
Okay.
the truck.
And there was a discussion about the RF device, was there not?
Yes.
And then he was describing the RF device to whom?
Adam Fox and CHS Gannon.
And this is on August 29th, though, right?
Yes, sir.
You provided some testimony yesterday that Eric showed Adam and Dan the device on September 12th at the Walmart parking lot. Did you not?
Yes, I did.
Then the day before that, you provided testimony, sworn testimony in the morning initially, that a discussion about being in on the mission or not occurred 1 minute after another, which basically was when they hopped in the truck right after this, right?
That's correct. But to be clear, that was a mistake. I had got my times mixed up. So
Okay.
it did not occur a minute after. The clip you're referring to occurred on the ride home.
Correct. But that's a 4.5 hour mistake, right? 4 hours, 26 minutes?
That's the time difference of when it occurred.
And did you say it was a typo or a timestamp? What was your description?
I had written the wrong timestamp down, so I had made a typo.
Yeah. Okay, so that's all right. There was a mistake made, right? You also testified that Eric showed Adam and Dan this RF device at Walmart on the 12th of September.
That's correct.
Have you had a chance to review your records, done any other investigation to verify that that was a mistake as well?
I have had a chance to review the audio. I did that last night and this morning and was able to verify the timestamp, which was September 12th at 10:34 a.m. when Eric Molitor described the functioning of the RF detector to Adam Fox.
And where was that?
That was at the Walmart parking lot in Cadillac.
And you have that audio, I take it?
I do.
Okay. You are you've been working 3 years on this, you said?
That sounds right.
And you're the quarterback here on this case. You testified for 5 days. You've testified for 5 days, right?
That's fair.
So far, 6 maybe?
Let's get this done.
All right. But you're the lead investigator on this thing, aren't you?
I have a role on the team for the terrorism enterprise case, that's for sure, but there's other team members who make significant contributions.
Okay, but you provided a heck of a mistake, though, in the crux of this case, and you've corrected it, and I appreciate that. Can you tell me how that you could make a mistake like that with your
Sure.
time on this investigation, your professionalism, et cetera?
Sure. Yeah, so this case had thousands of chats and hundreds of audio recordings. And a lot of times the audio recordings are overlapping. I have a primary and a secondary audio recording device so that if somebody uses OPSEC and the primary audio recording device is gone, hopefully the secondary one will pick it up. So when you're trying to create these clips, these audio clips, a lot of times you'll hear partial audio from one and partial for another, or one recording device might run out of batteries and then it gets picked up on the other one. So there's quite a bit of correlating between these audio devices. So when I'm trying to find a timestamp, I have to do a lot of legwork and to make sure it's correct. So in this case, I was incorrect. I made an error in when the timestamp occurred, and it was found and corrected by counsel.
Okay. And you indicated you had made a mistake in Ms. Nunzio's testimony today as well. You tried to correct, but she's going to let that be dealt with later, I take it. Did you make a mistake this morning as well without getting into it?
I believe the questioning was confusing, and I wanted to clarify it because she had told me that I could clarify anything. I would have rephrased one of my answers, but I wouldn't consider it a mistake. I think it's just something that could have been cleaned up, so we got a full and complete answer.
Okay. It's important to have a full, complete answer, full facts.
Absolutely. That's definitely the goal.
Full picture.
Yes.
Can we please go to some of your exhibits? If you could open up your book. Do you mind if I take those away and return those to my
Yep. Go right ahead. Whatever you need.
trustee assistant, and I'll make one available for you. We're going to pick a couple of pages.
Yep, we need to run it. You want to start again?
Yes, Your Honor. You want to?
Good. Take all the time you need.
You should. Thank you. this one's been entered. I'm gonna, when they come across some that haven't been, I want to make sure, and maybe you can help me, Agent Harris, to not publish something that hasn't come in yet. I'm sure your notes are very good. And thank you for your answers today.
No problem.
So far.
Thank you, Counselor.
Sorry I have to ask about,
Ask away.
I did. Thank you for answering away. Plaintiff's exhibit number 1, please.
I have it here.
You have not listed Daniel Harris and Brandon Caserta in this, is that correct?
That's correct.
But they were subjects of investigation, were they not?
They were.
You said you wanted to have a complete and accurate picture, right? Of all evidence, all facts, all sound clips, I'll say, at this point.
It's certainly accurate to give the jury a good, accurate description. This chart does not encapsulate the entire investigation. This chart encapsulates the characters who are pertinent to what occurred here, that as a result of our exhibits, we were talking about most frequently, and I wanted to make sure the jury had a visual and was able to understand who those characters were. So this is not all encompassing of everything I know or all the subjects across the United States.
Why is Joe Morrison and Pete Musical, Paul Bellard for the left lower corner? Why are those 3 on there and not Caserta and Harris, that I understand were also Wolverine Watchmen?
Yes, they are Wolverine Watchmen. So Joe Morrison is the founder of the Wolverine Watchmen. So he was a driving factor in making sure when you were vetted into the Wolverine Watchmen, they would ask you, are you willing to become a domestic terrorist? Throughout the chats that we selected to present to the jury, he had a number of different aliases, Boogaloo Bunyan, George Bunyan II. And so I want to make sure that as we described him, people knew his role as a leader and the level of OPSEC that he was preaching to Adam Fox from previous exhibits. For Pete Musical, with the nickname Grandpa, he was also a founding member with Joe Morrison. And I wanted to make sure in the creation of the Wolverine Watchmen, you were able to see that Pete and Joe drove the ideology. You described how the FBI had made it up. But this all happened prior to the FBI's involvement, and I wanted to make sure from the exhibits that you were aware and members of the jury were aware that all of this happened independently before the FBI was involved, and that these 2 guys were the leaders of the group, and Paul Bellard was their medic and a founding member.
Right. And Dan got in that group, and within 2 months was their XO second in command, training them.
So Dan joined the group at the beginning of March, and then there was a meeting at Ty Garbin's house in Heartland on June 3rd, and that meeting was the day that he was selected to be the XO.
City again?
Heartland, Michigan.
Heartland.
Yes, sir.
That's not on your significant events?
It's correct.
Why not?
There's a lot of activities in the Wolverine Watchmen case, in the Jackson County case, that I didn't think were pertinent for this case here, because they involved the charges and trainings associated with the Wolverine Watchmen. As I described, the Wolverine Watchmen later evolved and came under Adam Fox to be operators.
All right, so you have Morrison, Musical, and Bellard. Do you want to describe Bellard the same way you did Musical and Morrison?
Sure. So Paul Bellard here is Doc. His handle is 1776.2. So he was a trainer and he was the medic for the Wolverine Watchmen. After attending the Cambria FDX, he moved to North Carolina to start a new job.
Okay, let's get back, and let's describe Caserta and Harris now and their role individually or their, you've given summary, so let's hear the summary, please, on Caserta and Harris.
Sure. So Dan Harris is a 24-year-old U.S. Marine. He goes by the alias Beaker. He was recruited at a rally in Lake Orion, I believe, by other members of the Wolverine Watchmen. He came to some early trainings in May and June, and he talked about his explosive experience as a member of the U.S. Marines. He had a friend who was who's also a bomb maker, and he brought that up to the group. And he went to Cambria, Wisconsin. He also went to the second new founding fathers meeting in Peoples, Ohio. He went to the Luther training, but he didn't participate in any of the surveillances on the governor's residence.
So that's Daniel Harris.
Oh, yes, and Brandon Caserta.
Yeah.
So Brandon Caserta went by the handle Tats. He was a member of the Watchmen who was vetted in, I believe, in June of 2020. Brandon Caserta also traveled to Cambria, Wisconsin. Trying to remember what other significant events he did. CHS Dan had one conversation where he went over to Brandon Caserta's house on August 16th. And then Brandon Caserta went to a training in Fowlerville that the Wolverine Watchmen ran. He's also at a lot of their security meetings. And he ultimately went to Luther, but he didn't participate in the nighttime surveillance or the daytime surveillance.
Mr. Brennan's right. I mean, we have the handle that you
Tats. Tats with a T, yeah. Another handle he had was Xenogun with an X. And then another handle, he changed his handles, was Debased Tyrant.
Okay. But Caserta and Harris were both present at the FTX and Luther, were they not?
Yes, sir.
And they're not part of the picture here.
Well, I prepared a different picture with the FTX and Luther, and they are part of that picture.
Well, why aren't they part of this picture then, along with Musical, Morrison, and Bellar?
This picture is the subjects of the investigation who were involved in surveillance, either daytime or nighttime, or the genesis of the three threat streams coming together.
Okay. So this is Steve Robeson that I shared in my opening statement about Steve. I didn't say his last name, but it looks like it's out in the open here.
Yes, sir.
That's who I was referring to, right?
Yes, sir.
That's your informant.
He was previously an informant for the FBI out of our Wisconsin office before he was arrested.
So that you mentioned that wasn't your guy, so to speak, but someone else picked and selected him from the FBI to be an informant.
That's fair, yes.
He's a prior informant as well.
I don't have any knowledge about his past history.
You don't know that he's been convicted in 9 states?
I know he has a criminal history. I haven't counted the states. I haven't searched his criminal history, but that's something the FBI does. When you become an informant, you're required to run their criminal history. So I'm sure the handlers of him did do that.
Okay. You don't question my facts, do you, about his criminal record?
I know he has an extensive criminal history.
He's got a felony?
Yes.
And he was given a gun, was he not, in the course of this case to deliver to Barry Croft?
By who?
By the FBI. To drive out to Delaware?
I believe the FBI agents had a gun. I know that he did receive a gun from Barry Croft in the Cambria FTX.
That wasn't given to him by the FBI to drive out there?
Well, initially Barry Croft came to Wisconsin and delivered a gun to him. I know this particular gun, there was a lot going on with it. I don't have any firsthand knowledge as to who did what and where it transited.
You didn't bring him into this thing, but he's in the middle of your investigation because he's on this page, right?
He's here because he was part of the nighttime surveillance. So he was driving in the spotter car with Undercover Red and CHS Dan.
So you don't know whether or not he had a possession of a weapon throughout this case at any time?
He definitely did have possession, and it was in violation of his admonishments, and he wasn't allowed to have a weapon because he was a felon.
The FBI didn't give him a weapon, though, to deliver out to Barry Croft? as was brought up in the federal case, from my recollection.
I don't have any firsthand knowledge of this. I know what you're referring to in the federal case, and I've heard discussions of it in trial, but I don't know the details of who gave what and where it went and how it went. I heard about it during the first federal trial, though.
Okay, so I have some basis for saying that, do I not?
I know what you're referring to, yes.
Thank you. So this individual was part of your umbrella, so to speak here. You're watching these folks.
CHS Steve Robeson.
Yeah.
He was being tasked on behalf of the Milwaukee office.
Yeah, and he worked for you guys, FBI, and he also turned on you, did he not?
Yes, he pretended to be working for the FBI when in fact he was committing criminal acts and then lying to his FBI agent handlers. And he was actually working to help with the plot with Barry Croft and Adam Fox.
And he's tipping off these guys too, what he knows about the FBI, wasn't he?
Yes, sir.
And he also, you had, I understand, go to see him, or you met with him at some point to determine whether he was going to kill a confidential human source. Is that correct?
Well, we received information from Steve Robeson that he was looking for CHS Dan, and I went out to assist with an interrogation interview of Steve Robeson during the course of a search warrant that was executed on his house following the initial arrest. So in December of 2020, I was part of an interrogation of Steve Robeson.
So he was tipping off some of these people what was going on from the FBI side of things.
Yes, sir.
And then he was arrested. You interviewed him. Was that part of his arrest, after his arrest, or was that in the investigation?
He was interviewed pursuant to a search warrant and then arrested thereafter.
When was that date?
It was early December of 2020 is when I did the interview interrogation, and I couldn't tell you when his arrest was.
Has that interview been turned over to the defense attorneys?
Yes, sir.
And that's the interview where you set an office saying to Mr. Robeson, did you not?
Should we approach?
No, it's one person. Robinson. It kind of gets mispronounced.
Ladies and gentlemen, everybody can stay where they are. And no one needs to rise. We need more time. And Mr. Brennan, we'll go back.
Thank you, Randy. This Steve Roberson or Robison, Roby, in other words, was he charged and convicted for his criminal activity that you investigated?
He was charged and convicted federally with being a felon in possession of a firearm.
Okay. And did you testify in that case at the federal level?
No,
Have you testified in any of these cases at the federal level?
no, I've never testified in federal court for this case.
This is your unfortunate 5-day, 6-day experience right here, Ben.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And during an interview with Mr. Robinson, is it true? And I could quote you as saying that there's an office saying around your office that we don't let the facts get in the way of a good story.
That was a statement made during part of the interrogation of Steve Robeson.
And that's on a tape, isn't it?
It's a recorded interrogation.
Okay. Speaking of your office, when this case started, were you in Detroit at that time, or were you in Tennessee, if you're okay to say?
I was at the Flint Resident Agency, so that's, we call it an RA. It's a 10-man office out of Flint. It's a satellite office.
So in the last 3 years, you've got a different position.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. The last person I think I'll ask about is Randy Keller. How do we know that person from this courtroom?
So Ronnie Keller, Randy.
Sorry, never mind. Who is Randy Keller? Sorry, my bad.
So she's on the lower right here. She goes by Amanda.
Yep.
And that's Adam Fox's girlfriend or fiance during the course of the investigation.
Thank you. Thanks for not jumping ahead of me, and I'm sorry, just misspoke there for a second. So you would agree concerted hair should be on this picture as a subject of your investigation?
No, I would disagree.
All right. Page, rather plaintiff's exhibit 2, please.
I have it here.
And these are some bubbles that you call them 1 through 20, right?
I call them significant events, and these are not all of the events, but these are the ones that I created for a testimonial aid here.
Okay. And these are a lot of this is your opinion stuff, or these are facts?
I tried to be factual with locations and date and time stamps. I tried to remove my opinion as much as possible.
Thank you. So on 518 under number 3, it indicates American Patriot Rally, and it has Knowles, Fox, and Molitor there. Is that right?
Yes, here, number 3, American Patriot Rally, yes.
And although you have them in a box, they certainly weren't together that day, right?
Well, they were together at the rally. I don't know what level they coordinated or communicated. I'm not saying that they did or they didn't. They were just all at this significant event, which is number 3 on the timeline.
Is that the one you had pictures of, or was that 531?
There's pictures on both days, but this is one of the exhibits. I can find it here if you'd like.
It's okay. You would agree, though, they weren't together as a group of any nature, wouldn't you?
All I know is that there was pictures of them there at the rally. I don't know how they got there, if there was coordination at all amongst them, or if they all just showed up independently and never spoke. I have no information about that.
Thank you. Number 4 is to do with response to riots in Grand Rapids in 531, Molitor, Fox, Bill now. Were they working in concert there, or were they just happened to be spotted amongst the crowd similar to the other one?
Well, Adam Fox and Bill Null were seen in the same picture together. at a location that I had thought was Grand Rapids. It's potentially Lansing or Grand Rapids. Eric Molitor had, according to the exhibit we just looked at, deployed in Muskegon that night.
Okay, so that's incorrect, then. It might be Lansing and Muskegon. They weren't anywhere near each other.
That's correct. Eric Molitor was in communication with Adam Fox when Adam Fox and Bill Null deployed to Lansing or Grand Rapids, wherever the photograph was taken.
And that, we know that from the Facebook that I brought in today.
Yes, sir.
So that part of your exhibit, so to speak, your diagram, your significant events is incorrect, isn't it?
I'm sorry, what's incorrect?
531, response to Grand Rapids riots.
It could be Lansing. I'm not sure actually where Adam Fox and Bill Null went together. All I know is there's a picture there, and I thought they were deploying to Grand Rapids.
Speculation, that what again, John? The witnesses at the fertilizing, we don't destroy.
The easiest way to handle that, the jury would disregard the answers relative to the questions. As to the testimony that was given for Fox deploying with Bill Null, we had testimony previously when photographs were admitted. That testimony came in absent objection and detailed that date, and the testimony on that will stand. So the jury will disregard the statements here and rely on the previous testimony. Is that here the objective nature?
Yes, thank you, Governor.
Okay, so we sustain as far as that.
Thank you, Your Honor. Number 5, bubble number 564, Molitor joins Fox's civilian army. Right, that's what that says there.
Yes, sir.
And we know that's not accurate because in August, he's trying to make him a lieutenant on the ride to, as I recall, Bel Air. Turns out to be Elk Rapids, but they're still trying to patch him in, not only on paper with the exhibit we looked at today, but also on the ride up there, right?
I don't know about anything about a lieutenant, but I know the exhibit you're referring to and the exhibits I'm referring to from the 4th. So I don't want to editorialize or anything. The June 4th discussion on Facebook between Adam Fox and Eric Molitor, and I tried to quote what Adam Fox said as far as the civilian army. That's what I was referring to here when I put it on number 5 in the significant events timeline.
All right, it could be that he's joined his Facebook page on that day, not in his militia group, based on what we've seen today in their messages.
There wasn't a Facebook page at that time. It was a reference to the Michigan Regiment of the 2nd Continental Army, which was described as a civilian army.
Okay. And that would be consistent with responding to riots on 531 by 6-4. They're putting together an army to help with what's going on in the country in Michigan.
I'm sorry, I don't understand the riots.
Well,
portion.
531, riot response to riots, that's bubble 4, bubble 5. Molitor joins Fox's civilian army.
Well, the civilian army is the 2nd Continental Regiment, and so it's for an American Revolution. George Washington was the first. So the 2nd Continental Army, or the civilian army, is not related to any riot response that I can tell.
Okay. Looks like something's very significant here. Cambria, Wisconsin, that'd be 10 and 11. Days 7/11 and 7/12. That's significant, isn't it?
7/11 to number 10 here. This is a firearms training day in Cambria, Wisconsin. Day 1, and then day 2 is number 11 on the significant events chart, but it's the 12th of July.
And I see you take it off the nose on the second day now, at least on that drawing, right?
Yes, I wasn't sure when the Knolls left, if they left early on the second day or if they left on the first day. So I did put the Knoll brothers on the second day just to be safe.
Just to be safe, because you don't know either way. In fact, you don't know either way on Saturday either, how long they were there.
I don't know when the Knoll brothers left.
Okay, so you put this at 9/13, let's go all the way to 19. You've got explosives testing as if Mr. Molitor is right in there with Fox and Croft, right?
Correct.
You saw pictures of Croft messing around with fireworks, gunpowder, whatever he's got going on there, right?
That was in Cambria, Wisconsin, those pictures.
You don't have any pictures, do you, of 9/13 with Molitor anywhere near explosives, do you?
Correct, I don't have any photographs.
Isn't it true that he was cowering under a truck or by a truck with Steve Robinson, a red truck, quite some distance away?
I could hear Steve Robeson in the audio recording with Eric Molitor. I can't tell you where they physically were based on my review of the audio recording.
Okay. Number 3, please. We're going to move on to a new exhibit. Give me a second. I'm going to pass to number 3, exhibit 3, and move to, is it? We were talking about an exhibit, and I did a poor job of leading the witness. Thank you, Your Honor. Exhibit 4. You see that?
I do.
You brought up some information about Lake Michigan access.
Yes, sir.
And that's, I believe you tied that in with the backseat ride that my client took on the 29th of August, correct?
Yes, sir.
And you said they, when you testified, they discussed Lake Michigan access.
Yes, sir.
Isn't it true that Mr. Molitor and all 3 of them, nothing was brought up about Lake Michigan access? Dan and Adam.
From the daytime surveillance, after I debriefed Dan, we drove to the area and he pointed out a location where they discussed Lake Michigan access.
Who's they?
So the participants in the car,
Excuse my voice.
CHS Dan, Adam Fox, and Eric Molitor.
Can you point me to that discussion on the tape that you have?
I can't because the windows were open and as I tried to listen to it, I couldn't make out all the audio. So I just asked Dan to locate a little side street in the neighborhood that they drove by where they made the observations they could make and get to Lake Michigan.
Okay, windows open, right, is loud, isn't it?
It's hard to hear.
You heard Eric Molitor said he was hearing bits and pieces. You heard that part, didn't you, earlier? Probably.
I know the clip you're referring to, yes.
Okay, and it would make sense. You sit in the back seat of the truck. You're not going to hear everything that's said back and forth up front.
It's possible.
You've had probably human experience where you're sitting in back, people are talking, and it's like you can't hear everything they're saying. And
When I talk with my wife in the car, I try to talk so my kids can't hear.
okay, good man. I'll try that. So you said they discussed it, but you have no evidence other than what Dan's repeated to you.
Yeah, so just to be clear, I talked to Dan about it, and when I say they, I'm just referring to the few people in the car. I can't tell you who heard what from what vantage point in the car.
You can't tell what Eric Molitor said either, can you?
Correct.
Thank you. Okay. This is where I'm going to go to the next chart, if I could, on plaintiff's exhibit 6.
I have it here.
And you don't have,
Sorry, ladies and gentlemen, you may hear the reference to plans exhibit and also other people exhibit, the same.
Mike,
Go ahead.
thank you. It does have a sticky on it, Your Honor, and that's where I'm getting sidetracked with this.
That's fine, I just want to make sure that they.
Okay. Upper, these don't have bubbles, so to speak, do they?
Correct. No bubbles on this one.
This one you're trying to tie in Mr. Molitor with Mr. Fox, right?
So this is what I call a comms chart. And so what I tried to do is I tried to list pieces of electronic footprint or in-person meetings, contact they would have had, showing the progression of their relationship throughout the investigation.
Is this chart inconsistent with the previous chart we talked about relative to riots in Grand Rapids?
This chart provides a little more detail and description, similar to what I just testified about. So the previous chart just lists his name, and then here I try to go into more detail as to what he does.
Who's he?
Eric Molitor.
Okay, so on the last chart, you had Molitor and Fox deployed responding to riots in Grand Rapids. Now you have it they're deploying to Muskegon and deploying to Grand Rapids for riots, right?
So in this particular one, I described what Eric Molitor was doing specifically. The previous one was general, that we had 3 people who were involved or had some sort of communication. And what I was referring to was the communication between Adam Fox and Eric Molitor that we looked at on Facebook. And then the fact that Bill Null and Adam Fox were in the same photograph.
Is that the date that you figured out they might have gone to Lansing and not Grand Rapids?
Yeah, whether it was Lansing or Grand Rapids, I'm not sure where the photograph was taken, where they actually went together.
So this chart also is wrong. In the box to the left, the very first one is you start off the chronological order, right? Wrong.
Hopefully my testimony has been detailed enough to clear up what I was talking about on that chart.
Okay, but that's the exhibit going back with the jury, correct? The sheet that was up on the screen?
Correct. You're talking about right here.
Thank you. Appreciate that pointing. Maybe you can hit 6-6 on the lower side, left, second box. There you go.
Right here.
Fox, Molitor covers Fox's work shift during